This is an adult channel.
So I finished all the wheels, and Ray John put bearings on the wheels, but I just put some plastic wrap around the axles and shoved the wheels on there so they would stay. I finished the bottom. This is PLA Plus. You can see that says one-eyed monster, not one-eyed monster. The id monster was on Forbidden Planet, but I don't know if it's one-eyed or one-eyed. But anyway, this is the black ceramic PLA Plus. It has some flexibility to it. And then I finished the back part. It's the axles. I finished all the doors. And on the bottom here you can see where there's holes in the body. You have to make pins that goes up through the door hinges. And it was designed for 1.75 millimeter filament, but this is 150%. So I'll do the math and I'll just print me my own pins. I'll need 1, 2, 3 back there, and I think 1 for the hood. I'll just print several long pins and I'll cut it to size. I wanted to show something else here. The backpacks, the Proton Packs. So this, I'm going to turn my action figure over. So this is the 3D printed Proton Pack that came with this model from one-eyed monster. I wanted to show the size comparisons. Now this is the so this is the 3D printed that came with the file I purchased, and this is the Hasbro Proton Packs. And sometimes the size doesn't show up very good on camera, but the Hasbro 1/12 scale are slightly bigger than this Proton Pack that came with the file. This is the Mattel 1/12. The Mattel is slightly smaller. And then we have the Diamond Select Proton Packs, which are bigger. So the one that's closest in size as far as Proton Packs is the Hasbro, but it's slightly bigger. So, you know, also on some of the forums for the Eagle Moss Ecto 1, they were talking about how inside the Eagle Moss the proportions aren't really accurate either. They're a little bit off because there's guys that make mods and make little extra specialty parts, and you know, they say, well, you know, it doesn't fit exactly because the interior of the Eagle Moss is not quite accurate. And I think that's because when you're talking about a door, okay, these doors in real life, on the life size, you know, real car, are made out of sheet metal. And sheet metal brought, well, I'm about to sand that little blemish off. Sheet metal brought down to the size of 1/10 or 1/12 is going to be really paper thin. So either you gotta make, I mean, even then it'll be like the width of an aluminum can, and it's not really something that you can work with, and it'll get damaged easy, very fragile. So shrinking down life-size materials isn't really ideal. So you end up having to substitute the real material, sheet metal and stuff, with plastic and you know, thicker metal, so it'll have some strength to it, or just fall apart. And I mean, like in model airplanes, I used to have a pilot's license, and those things are built so light with sheet metal that so they can fly. And the thing is when you have a something that when you make a miniature airplane, it's got to stay together. You can't make it you can't shrink sheet metal down, or it'll be the thickness of a human hair, maybe. I don't know for sure about that, but I mean, look at the thickness of this hood. In a hinge, it has to be that way, or it'll just break so easily and quickly. And I think that's one of the problems. Proportions get knocked out of shape because they have to have some strength. So you just got to deal with what you want to deal. I've already went over how the length of this car and the width is closer to Diamond Select 1/8 scale. And the designer, you can't blame them. This has to fit in the back of that. So the Proton Pack might be a little bit smaller, just so it will fit. In the end, we just want it to look good, don't we? We just don't want it to look right. So, I'm printing the roof rack now. It's looking pretty good from here. I didn't want a lot of cleanup, so I put it into a computer program and split it up. So I'll be printing the pegs and the bottom structure separately, and I'll just glue them together. That way I won't have a lot of cleanup. I decided to print this in a different PLA. This is Sunlu PLA Plus. I want to buy PLA Plus for strength. This is a different brand than my ceramic that I like, but since this is a roof rack and it wasn't never meant to be on that Cadillac in the first place, being a little bit different texture and color is going to be okay. And I really don't want to. I'm going to see if I can get away without painting this. We'll see how it comes out. And right now I'm also printing the dash and the steering wheel. Right now it's on a raft. I use raft rims, whatever I have to make sure the print comes out okay. And as you can see, here's all the support material I dug out that didn't come off. And I just put some plastic sandwich wrap, saran wrap, whatever you want to call it, around that post, and I just stuck the wheel on it just so it will stay on there. And here's the bottom. Fuel tank goes in the back. It's pretty good. Yeah. It's pretty good. And here's the roof rack. I printed it in white because these parts in here are a lot of them are white. These are going to be yellow. This is going to be light green, I believe. The frame is actually supposed to be black. So painting the inside of this white would have been harder for me, it seems like. So it's all white, and I'll paint the extra parts, the colors that they're supposed to go. And I got to pick all this support out. But man, look at that! It came out pretty damn clean. Even those little hoses right there for some support. But look at those little hoses. Not too bad. Not too bad. Good enough for me. Okay, there's all the support material I picked out, plus a couple pieces that fell on the floor. It's not as clean as I want it to be, but it's not too bad. I'd say it's 80% clean of the support material. I have to go in there with a knife, some tweezers, and these things that came with my creolity machines. These come really handy for all kinds of things. There's some I missed. Normally, like how I cut the bottom off, normally I would cut some more pieces off to make it cleaner, but I'm kind of pushing it here for time to get this halfway done and decent looking before the movie comes out. So I printed these sensors. It's a sniffer, I think. I can't remember what this dome is. And then some pins. And as you can see, what I did was I took 1.75, multiplied it times 150%, because originally this was supposed to be filament, but since I enlarged it 150%, I needed to take 1.75 filament and enlarge it to 150%. As you can see, it fits really, really good. Really good. There was some support material in there that I had to take out. And you see, it fits really good in there. And I did glue these two halves together last night. I smeared some JB weld in there too, because the corner had warped here a little bit in here. So I super glued it together, and then I smeared JB weld in there, and then I'll finish it off with this body putty. It's actual Bondo body putty from AutoZone. As you can see, these will just pop right off. And the sniffer is done. I believe it fits right there. And then this other pod, sensor pod is done, except part of it didn't print. So I don't remember where it goes, but that's alright. I can always use one of these pins and fix it. I keep extra plastic parts around. And then this right here was the bottom of this long tank. When I cut this, I cut the bottom of that tank off a little bit. Not that anybody would ever notice that. I went ahead and printed it, and I'll glue it on there. Probably. And this is what happens when you're distracted and you're positioning stuff on the printer bed in Cura. I put the bottom of the dash up, and you can see the support material there. Like I said, normally I would split this in half and then print it, so there's almost no cleanup. You just glue the pieces together. But the bottom of the dash nobody's going to ever see, so that's why I just printed the whole thing. But I'm going to reprint it now because it's got this support material up there. Hold on, sweetie. I get this print. So instead of spending a lot of time cleaning this up, I just print another one. And this ugly support material that will take a lot of work, it's going to be on the bottom. And I'll just use it like that. So, anybody want this?